Imagine you are standing on the surface of the moon, not reading about it, not watching a simulation, actually standing there in a suit, boots pressed into dust that hasn't moved in 3 billion years. The Earth hangs above you, blue, soft, impossibly far, and for 1 second, everything feels peaceful, sacred even. Then you realize something. You are completely, utterly alone. There is no air, no sound, no rescue, and somewhere beneath the surface you're standing on, something is happening that will change the human species forever. This is not a history lesson. This is the beginning of something we cannot take back. NASA is building a base on the moon, a permanent one, not a flag, not a footprint, a structure, habitats, power systems, laboratory, a launch pad sitting 250,000 miles from every hospital, every ocean, every living thing you have ever known. They call it Artemis. They say it is the next giant leap, and they are right, but not in the way they want you to think, because here's what they don't say in the press releases. Here's what doesn't make it into the celebration speeches. Getting there is the easy part. The moon looks quiet from here, from your window, from a photograph, from a painting. It looks like something ancient and sleeping, gray and still and almost gentle. But the moment you set foot on it, the silence is not peaceful. It is predatory. The lunar surface sits exposed to the full violence of space with absolutely nothing to protect it. No magnetic field, no atmosphere, no buffer between you and everything the universe is throwing at it constantly, and throwing at you now too. During lunar day, temperatures climb to 127 degrees Celsius, hot enough to boil water, hot enough to cook you through your suit if the cooling systems fail for even a few minutes. But that's not what keeps the engineers awake at night. It's the night that does that. When the sun drops below the horizon, the temperature doesn't gradually fall. It plummets. Within hours, it reaches minus 173 degrees Celsius. The same rock that was scorching you 6 hours ago is now cold enough to make metal brittle, to crack seals, to turn lubricants into solid paste. A base has to survive this every single month forever without failing once, because out here, once is enough. But here's the problem. Temperature is not the most dangerous thing on the moon. The dust is. Lunar regolith, the gray powder that covers everything, is nothing like the sand on a beach or the dirt in a garden. It hasn't been smoothed by wind or water. It has been shattered by micrometeorites for billions of years, and the result is a material made of microscopic shards of glass, razor sharp and electrically charged. It sticks to everything: suits, visors, instruments, lungs. The Apollo astronauts were only on the surface for a matter of hours, and when they came back inside, they described the smell of the dust as burnt gunpowder. Within days, some noticed their sinuses felt wrong. Their eyes felt raw. Now imagine living there for months with that dust working its way into every seal, every filter, every breath. NASA has been trying to solve the dust problem for decades. They haven't solved it yet, but it gets worse. Without a magnetic field, the moon has no defense against cosmic radiation. Solar particle events, sudden bursts of high-energy particles ejected by the sun, can happen with almost no warning. During a major event, the radiation hitting the lunar surface would deliver a lethal dose in less than an hour. In 1989, a solar storm powerful enough to disrupt satellites and power grids on Earth hit the solar system without warning. If astronauts had been on the moon that day, in a habitat without sufficient shielding, they would not have survived. The Artemis base is being designed with storm shelters, rooms buried under meters of lunar soil where crews can retreat and wait it out. But here's what that actually means. You are underground, on another world, in a small room, waiting to find out if the star that gives your planet life has decided to kill you today. And you cannot leave. You cannot call anyone who can help. You sit and you wait and you hope the walls are thick enough. And this is where things change. This is where the story stops being about physics and starts being about something harder to measure. The human mind was not built for this. Every psychological study done on long-duration isolation, submarines, Antarctic stations, the International Space Station, shows the same thing. After enough time cut off from sunlight cycles, from open spaces, from the feeling that rescue is possible, the human mind begins to fracture in small, quiet ways. Irritability, paranoia, cognitive decline, the inability to make decisions under pressure. Now take those findings and apply them to a crew of 6 people locked inside a pressurized tube on a world with no breathable air, 384,000 kilometers from help, where a single equipment failure can cascade into a situation where everyone dies before Earth even finishes processing the distress signal. The speed of light takes 1.3 seconds to travel from the moon to Earth. That doesn't sound like much, but in an emergency, when you need someone to tell you what to do and every second matters, 1.3 seconds of silence is an eternity. There is no real-time help. There is no calling out and getting an instant answer. There is just the crew, the manual, and whatever's failing right now. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part, or maybe the most extraordinary part, is that people are volunteering for this. Brilliant, capable, healthy human beings are looking at everything described above and saying, I want to go. Because the moon base is not really about the moon. It is about Mars. It is a practice run, a place to learn how to keep humans alive in deep space before we commit to a journey where the return trip takes 6 months and where, if something goes wrong, nobody is coming. The technology is being tested on the moon. Water extraction from ice, oxygen generation from regolith, power systems that survive 2-week-long lunar nights. These are the building blocks of a species that no longer needs a single planet to survive. That changes everything, not slowly, not eventually. The moment the first permanent crew steps into a lunar habitat and stays, not visits, stays, the history of life on Earth forks into two branches. The branch where we remained here on this one world, hoping nothing went wrong, and the branch where we didn't. Stand back outside for a moment, back on that surface, boots in 3-billion-year-old dust, Earth hanging above you like a marble someone forgot. From up here, every war ever fought is on that small blue circle. Every book ever written, every person you have ever loved, every forest, every ocean, every city that ever burned, and everyone that was ever built from the ashes, all of it on one fragile rock, orbiting one ordinary star in one unremarkable arm of one galaxy among 2 trillion. And now, for the first time in the 4-billion-year history of life on this planet, something that came from that rock is preparing to leave, not for a visit, for good. Maybe the universe was never meant for us, but we're going anyway, and nothing, not the dust, not the radiation, not the cold, not the dark, nothing will ever make us the same species we were before we looked up and decided that is not enough, we need more. The moon base won't just change everything forever, it already has.